UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.
To me, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's done more with less than any player at that position we've ever had.
Hey guys, welcome in to UNPAVED. Sean Salisbury, Adam Sager. Say's going to join us here. Roy Jones Jr. is going to join us about 20 minutes, and JB here in just about, 5 or 10 minutes or so. But first, I got to jump back into what we saw and heard yesterday about and get into this. Start it with some fire about DK Metcalf and a fan. All the years we've been watching sports and covering it, there's a few things that go on with me about this. It's kind of three-tiered. We found out allegedly that the fan from the game on Sunday did not make a racial slur. So let me start there. First off, most fans are good. There's a couple that are assholes that leave it bad news for everybody else in the stands, and that, you wonder what's going on. They do pay for a ticket and they have a right to clap and cheer and boo and do all that, but they don't have a right to step over their, over the line. Well, by calling DK Metcalf supposedly without any racial slur or any cuss words by his first name that triggered DK Metcalf to a 2-game suspension. I said yesterday, just looking at the optics didn't look like a 2-game suspension. Let's let it go, move on. But the rules say it, and boom, he's going to appeal it. What was said is he called him by his first name, apparently, and it bothered DK Metcalf because he'd been bothered by this same fan in the past. So is that crossing over the line? The answer is absolutely not. That's why I said on the show yesterday, let's always be careful before we got to be the first to jump in and say, man, it's a racial slur. Man, this fan's wrong. Man, what's DK doing? Got to see both sides. It's okay to get it right. Well, this fan wasn't off base, although he's a heckler. And if he went overboard, then you get him out and don't let him come back. Secondly, a player. Isn't it amazing how sensitive some athletes are? A guy that's as big and studly and great career and does this every week, DK Metcalf, that if it's that easy by mentioning his first name to get into his head and trigger his sensitivity, I'd be in his head all game long on the field. Maybe that's why he hasn't had his best career year this year. Too sensitive? And then there's the third layer, the racial slurs, race baiting stuff. Isn't it always obvious that when there's folks of opposite races that get in, whether it's athlete, fan, athlete, of different colors and races, that it's always the first thing some will go to, whether it's a fan, whether it's a local or national media person, any of us. And we all have the tendency to think that. Why would somebody in the middle of a game react to this unless it was some bad slur? And I get it. I get why we do that. But we got to be careful of that. And because that race baiting's become a major problem and issue, we just automatically assume. Can't we assume that maybe some athletes are just overly sensitive, didn't have a good day, that some fan can be an asshole? And whether you think this guy is one, there's plenty assholes in media and plenty of us that toe the line of stupidity. There is no place for racial slurs in anything. And if it was, I would understand if DK Metcalf wanted to go in the stands. But as we find out, that wasn't the case. 2-game suspension is a very expensive sensitivity issue for DK Metcalf. If it was just his name that was mentioned, he's going to appeal it, like I said. The thing that really, really gets into me is also the race baiting that goes on. Can we stop in 2026? Can we stop jumping to conclusions? And that's why we said allegedly, and it may be this and it may be that. Let's find out. If that's what got DK Metcalf mentioning his name that triggered, good gracious. Now everybody's going to jump on that. If it would have been a racial slur, escort the fan out. He should never be allowed in the game again. But we're at the point also with the people who jump immediately to that because opposite races. Stop it. I am so tired of the tired subject. It's maddening and it's exhausting that every time something like this happens, we automatically go right to, and there's some out there that go to it more often than others. It's got to be racist. It's got to be. Now, I don't even know the race or origin of the guy who did it. But man, we go there. I guess I can see his hand or what have you. But the bottom line is, it's not always about race and the race baiting. Fans can be assholes. Let's make sure we're not. Players can be sensitive. That's on them. Too easy to trigger some. And the racial slurs and the fact that we always Segs jump on it drives me friggin' crazy that's always the first thing we go to. Can we get back to some normalcy where everything isn't about race and everything isn't, when there's something going on or a battle, that it doesn't come down to this? DK Metcalf will face a 2-game suspension. Everything's not about race. It's a fan doing what fans do. And thank goodness, at least to this point, Segs, at least we don't have the racial slur that would have made us even go, when is this going to stop? And when are we going to see an athlete actually go into the stands? And understandably so when this happens. But you can't do it. The NFL's told you can't do it. Got to stop. Fans, be better. Most of you are. Players, quit being so sensitive over somebody calling you by your name. And all of us in the media and the fan base, stop assuming that everything we do is based on race and wrong. It's sports. Matter of fact, the least racist place I've ever been is in a locker room. So let's stop it. And race baiters out there, you need to be better in 2026 as well. Segs, quick thoughts for you on that. And we'll talk a little bit about Augusta Precious Metals, and we'll get to JB and get to Roy Jones Jr. and back to us talking about last night's Monday night game as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think just you're 100% spot on, and it's just a few people in the media that love to, but they also have a very, very loud voice, and that's why the race baiting stuff gets pumped out there so much. But there was also a video of the fan that
those Segs, right?
Yes, oh,
so
100%.
Tired.
Yes,
yeah.
So tired. There is another angle of the video where the fan says, basically, that's what I was going for, folks. And it's just, that's what these hecklers do. They try and get you to react. They try and get you. And as a player, as a professional player that stands to lose millions of dollars, you just can't do it. And DK went too far, and now the NFL, he'll appeal this 2-game suspension, and it could cost him a lot more money than just I think it was like $555,000 for the 2 games or whatever it was. It could cost him a lot more money in the long run. We'll talk about that later in the show.
Yeah, and Segs, it's just baffling to me. All of us have our trigger points and sensitivity. You're in a game. I don't even know why the fan thing, and there's a little bit of distance. It's almost like you're looking for a fan to bother you, because if you're that into the game, how can we always tell our players, just handle adversity? And since it wasn't a racial slur, it's just his name, and he got what he wanted. It's like on social media. Somebody will say something. They may not even dislike you. They're waiting for you to respond in kind, like, well, quite opposite of in kind, but respond. So now it begins. And now everybody knows. So what do you think the next guys are going to do? Right. Signs with his first name on it. I mean, that's exactly what they're going to do. So while fans can be a pain in the ass, you got to be a little less sensitive. Matter of fact, you got to be above that. And DK Metcalf is better than that. And it's going to be an expensive walk to the stands. And he didn't even get his money's worth if that's the case, Seg. So we'll talk more about that, JB, in just a second. Let me tell you about Augusta Precious Metals, guys. I was late to the party on the Precious Metals game. Now, the $40 trillion debt report, and it's going to hit that, our country, $40 trillion in 2026. It's just going to. And it's going to affect Segs, me, our Roy Jones. It's going to affect us all. It just is. So how do we combat that so we have confidence and security and peace of mind in retirement? Well, one way to do it is go do your research, like I did finally. Because if the dollar's here and the precious metals and gold is here and rising, you tell me what's the smarter move. So I need you to go to the code. Text Sean to 35052. 35052. And you're going to hit the link in the description as well, either one. But go to Sean 35052. And it's going to educate you. There's a little guide there. It's an easy read and quick on basically what we're facing and what we're up against moving forward and how we can combat it right there by texting Sean to 35052 or click the link in the description below. And when you go in there, it's just going to educate you quickly. Over and above that, don't you want confidence in retirement? Aren't you tired of relying on Washington? Don't you want the value of your gold and precious metals, the tangible assets that when it comes to the rest of you can't hold? Yeah, take control of it. Inform yourself. That's the one thing I did. And that's what Augusta Precious Metals wants you to do, is to first educate yourself. And there's nobody better at doing it. As I did my vetting and research through this, it led me right to Augusta Precious Metals. And here they are now as a partner. And I couldn't be more grateful for it. So get your confidence, get your security and your peace of mind back by going and educating yourself. Let 2026 be your moving year to the top, and Augusta Precious Metals can help. Confidence, security. Go read that guide. Take a couple minutes to educate yourself like you would in any other investment you make, and you'll realize maybe just being late to the party doesn't mean you missed the party. And Augusta Precious Metals is there to help. Again, text Sean to 35052 or click the link in the description below. Roy Jones Jr., that is Augusta Precious Metals. Roy Jones Jr. in about 10 minutes. Let's get to JB. Coach JB, as always, joins us normally on a Monday, but he's at the Real Coach _JB. He's got his Christmas stuff. He's in the spirit. I love it, and it is lit. And it's always lit when my man comes on. If you catch him on Twitter, you see his show daily in the mornings. It's boat time. He's got his yacht down there, docked in Newport. I mean, you do it for the hoes, don't you? It's for them hoes, isn't it? Not just Jimmy's and Joe's. You're doing it for the hoes. I like your spirit. JB, welcome on, brother. Let's hit this real quick. And I know you'll be anxious to, when you're done, to listen in on the Roy Jones Jr., because I know what a boxing fan and a Jones Jr. fan you are as well. And he'd whoop your ass and mine at the same time. We'll get to that. You got him? JB, you want me to send a message to Roy? You got it? Yeah, you want that? Yeah, your ass. All right, first off, athletes, DK Metcalf, we always seem to want to go to the race card, right? That a fan, that it's always got to be a slur that gets somebody. He's sensitive, and it wasn't a slur, but he did what he accomplished. He got attention from DK Metcalf. Why are athletes so sensitive, JB? Was that ever a point of contention with you, with your players, to teach them not to be sensitive to stuff like this?
Yeah, we never thought about it. It's such.
But JB, real quick about that. How in the world during a game are you even paying attention to this?
I have no idea.
Done if you're yeah, how are you paying attention to this?
Where's the coaching on? Here's the issue. This thing is so soft. We become so soft and pussified in America that this is what it is. It's overlapping now. And now everything is you walk on eggshells. Can't say this, can't say that. We used to honor and love shit talking by opposing crowds. Unless it's something egregious and you know, racially motivated or something criminal. Shut up. That's what they're there for. So I had DK's coach on today, who recruited him and coached him at Ole Miss. And he said, the kid's a great kid, blah, blah, blah. He said, who knows what happens after he leaves that guy that built that relationship with him. You know how that is.
Yeah.
But this guy, apparently DK has filed a lawsuit and a restraining order against, because this is multiple issues with this particular guy in Detroit. When Seattle came here before, when DK was in Seattle, this guy came at him as well then. So this was an ongoing thing. This has been 2 or 3 times now. So apparently I hope the appeal goes through, because if we're going to call this in a 2-game suspension, when it comes down to them in Baltimore at the end of the season, possibly playing for the NFC North title, it's shitty by the league. It's shitty by the league, in my opinion, on that front. If it's a fake allegation, then it's shitty on DK's front. So it goes both ways. But at the end of the day, I got to be honest, the Eagles played the Bills 2 years ago, and 6 Bills players ran up and slapped and hit Buffalo Bills fans, and there wasn't a suspension.
Yes, I mean, JB, I said it yesterday that I didn't think this warranted a suspension. Now, I understand the rules.
3 years ago.
It's not that big a deal.
What's the difference?
I understand they do it. There is none. It's selective choosing, and you're right. Don't let that be the reason. Nobody threw a punch. I mean, it was a little bit of a fracas, but like in an NBA game, separate them. Don't know the reasons why. And back to the race baiting part that goes on, where you automatically assume. I've always said, and it's a great point by one of our guys here, JB, Dustin Bull. He says, I said a locker room is the least racist place I've ever been. And it should be the way society is. And he said a foxhole as well. And he's exactly right for those that have been in the military. And here's why the race baiting part bothers me. People automatically play that card. Is then it falls on deaf ears when there really is a reason, when we really need to approach it, whether it's in sports or society. when racism really is a problem. And then it falls on deaf ears because people are thinking, oh, we're crying wolf, that this isn't true. When if it is true, now we've lost the real reasons for why we need to stop it. This situation is not done. And DK Metcalf, don't let that suspension at least, even if you delayed it. We've done that for athletes and coaches and stuff before, right, Segs? JB, and got it there. It's at the real coach _JB. So, JB, it's a bit maddening how this continues to happen. All right, let me switch to the 49ers last night. Real chance. Nobody's really talking about them. Seahawks, Rams. The way Purdy played last night, is there a chance the 49ers play in February?
There is. I think the Super Bowl representatives out of the NFC West, no doubt. I don't believe there's a team unless the Eagles get going, because we said this about the Eagles last year, as Sean King pointed out on my show. And then they got rolling when Saquon got rolling, and he's starting to roll right now in Philly. So we're going to see about that. But I think the best team in the NFL is the Rams, hands down. They've choked 3 games off, and they should be undefeated to be real. But the choking could concern people if you're really a fan. Eric Weddle's on my show every week and won a Super Bowl there. And is like, listen, it's a little concerning when you're up 16, when you're up 21 on the Philly, when you're up 15 on the Panthers, and you lose all 3 of those games. It is a little concerning. But listen, Sean McVay fired his special team coordinator after the debacle up 16 on Seattle last week, Thursday. So that is telling the Rams, we're serious. I'm going to win this damn thing this year. We got the best team in football. And then the Niners, Shanahan, what he's done with the injuries that he's had, the back and forth yo-yo with the quarterback play, the lack of a wide-out production, Ayuk's distractions. I'll be honest, he got to be up in the top 3 Coach of the Year candidates, in my opinion, as well. And it's in their court. If the Niners win 2 in a row, they're the number 1 seed, Sean. Who would have thunk it after all the injuries to start the season and losing all those players in the offseason as they did? So, yeah, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and Purdy played a really good game last night, 5 touchdown passes. McCaffrey. When they're doing that, they're a definite threat with 3 really, really good teams.
I think the Niners lose the next 2.
Who they got, JB?
Chicago, Seattle.
There you go.
I think they're going to lose the next 2. The Rams will win the next 2. They got Atlanta and the Cardinals. So Seattle, though, I believe is going to lose this weekend at Carolina. So this is going to put the Rams back in the number 1 seat. It's going to be very interesting. That Seattle beating the Rams kind of threw a monkey wrench in this whole thing. And now it's kind of got to be played out with Detroit Vikings still having to play for a meaningful game mathematically. They're alive. The Eagles are still obviously there. But right now, these 3 teams have already clinched. So the Seahawks, the Niners, and the Rams are in, along with Chicago. Green Bay is now fighting for that other spot. So it's going to be interesting down the stretch here, Sean. But I'm going to be honest, if the Niners win out, they control the destiny, the only team. But I think Carolina has to win to get that 7th spot, or them in the Tampa Bay Bucks out of that division. I think Carolina is going to present a problem to Seattle at home. And I think that's going to be the upset pick of the week, is my lock pick of the week, as I hit on last week with Jacksonville beating Denver.
Yeah, and Carolina, inconsistent but potential. They've gotten better this year and are sitting in a pretty damn good position. At the real coach _JB joins us. JB, is Caleb Williams impressed you yet?
No.
How? How is his performance still under? I know the inconsistency on the boring stuff. But, man, the flair for the spectacular and the ability to win late has to at least move your needle a little bit.
Well, he makes 2 throws a game, and they happen to be in the 4th quarter late to win games. So however you want to massage that, Sean, to your point, fucking right. Like, you look at that and say, damn. But then I watch the rest of the game, and I'm like, this guy is bad. So, like, they have the 2nd leading rushing offense in football. They have a unbelievably good O-line. They have a top 10 defense. That shit matters. It helped Patrick Mahomes win some Super Bowls now. So I'm just saying, you can show up late. And if we're going to say that the Eagles won in spite of Jalen Hurts, why can't we say the same thing about this Chicago team and what Ben Johnson's done? Listen, he made 2 unbelievable throws, and I said it. I tweeted it out. The touchdown throw to win the game, who was against a player of mine, and Hayshawn Mixon, who caught a pick just 2 weeks ago to win the game for Green Bay against Caleb Williams. And then the other night he throws to beat him. So that's a big time play by Caleb Williams. Then you got the throw against the hot on the right side. They get a little pressure. He throws it on the sprint out to the back cone, gets you 6. 2 great throws right there in the fourth quarter. For 3.5 quarters, he was 49% pass completions. He couldn't make a layup, and he's just running around the pocket. So the Bears' ability to keep games close until that guy shows up with his uncanny athleticism and playmaking ability when it's needed most. You can say what you want. I'm not going to hate on the kid when he makes 2 good throws, but at the same time, he's not the reason this team's 11 wins.
And you think, JB, and we'll move on to the next topic, but just to put an exclamation point on this, you think that in the playoffs, single elimination against good teams, he won't be able to make those plays they'll be too far behind if he's not more consistent in the first 3 quarters. All right, to the Chargers. Yeah, to the Chargers. We're really not talking much about them. Are they skilled enough to win the AFC?
I don't know. I think their O-line's going to hurt them, man. At least if they had one of those 2 tackles, I would give them a much better shot at this. But listen, this guy has to win a playoff game, or we're going to be sitting here next year talking about the same thing once again. So he's got
playing good right now too, JB, isn't he?
Yeah.
Playing really good football.
I don't know if they have enough weapons, Sean. They have an old, elderly wideout, Keenan Allen, who's unbelievable, but he's at the end of his career, not the beginning. You have a Quentin Johnson who's finally starting to catch the football and make some plays. You've lost some running back talent. You found a guy in Vidal who never thought. This is just the greatness in Harbaugh and just being true to what he is philosophically. Run the football, play defense. So you have one of the best safeties in football, obviously, and that defense is showing up late. Listen, they own Denver. And Harbaugh owns Sean Payton, if you want to say that. Sean has a Super Bowl, of course. Harbaugh doesn't yet. But I believe the Chargers win this game. I mean, they're kind of writing their own destiny as well, but I don't believe they can beat a Josh Allen. I don't believe they can beat a unbelievably well-coached Patriot team in Foxborough, if that's where it ends up. And I think Josh Allen can go on the road to L.A. and beat the Chargers because of what the anomaly he is. I don't think the Chargers have enough to get through the first round this year with the teams that they're going to probably play. The Texans have the best defense in football, in my opinion. I don't think they lost to them last year. I don't know if they can beat the Texans this year, especially if Nico gets going with CJ and then Chubb's back. That could be the right thing for the Texans. There's going to be some interest, and Jacksonville's playing as well as anybody. I'm just telling you, this is going to be very interesting down the stretch, and I don't know if they have enough to keep him upright against those teams. Think about the teams I just mentioned. Texas D-line, Denver's D-line, and Jacksonville had 3 of the best D-lines in football. They have to beat one of them guys.
Right.
With two makeshift O-lines.
By the way, in that division, the Chiefs will be a 2-touchdown, basically, underdog. I think it's their biggest underdog spread in like 5 decades. The Chiefs obviously are done, but there's been a shift this year, obviously, and the injury to Mahomes didn't help. All right, JB.
Denver, yeah.
What I say against? Yeah, I mean, they played Denver. Denver's
Chiefs
2-touchdown favorites. Right, yeah. That's exactly right. The Chiefs. The point is, I'm saying they're being overtaken in the division by 2 teams this year. How quickly can they get it back in 2026? All right, before we get to Roy Jones, you know about the song boys at Texas A&M? You know, the yell leaders, JB? Yeah, you've seen the guys in the white jumpsuits. Yeah, you have. Ho! Yeah, you don't know about them? Well, just give me your general feeling about song boys.
I don't know what that is. It sounds, it rhymes with
hey, cheerleader. Yeah, you know, just the song boys that are getting people fired up. And did you ever consider it when you were like maybe doing double duty, coaching and playing or triple duty in song boy? What do you think about that?
Bitch, please. You shit me? Are you shitting me?
Put some respect, okay?
I don't want to hear no D's nuts. You're not getting me.
I'm not. I'm dead serious. Go look up yell leaders at A&M, where I got my master's. So I'm going to defend A&M. I'm not sure I can defend the song. I call them song boys like USC song leaders, but we call them song boys or yell leaders. I want you to do a little due diligence homework assignment.
So
go
listen,
look them up and say, look at the night before midnight, the midnight yell, and go see what you think about him and report back.
Is it true? Because Phil Mickelson and Pat and them were telling me you're like a San Diego legend. You're the guy that used to catch the guy?
Oh yeah, I was the guy who threw them and caught them. Yeah, yeah, and caught them like this, just where the thumb, where they can land on the thumb. Yeah, and you were sitting shoulder to shoulder with me, clown. There you go. That's damn right.
You had
Damn right.
G-strings on? Did
Legendary.
you have the G-string nut huggers on?
I can neither confirm nor deny. Okay. Little homework. Yell leaders at A&M, and I'd like you to give me maybe a tweet about it to tell me what you think. Fair enough.
Sure, I'll do that today.
Merry Christmas, brother. I love you. I'm heading over to Roy
Hey, by the
Jones
way,
Jr.
real
now.
quick, DK Metcalf, what's he known for? Chasing a guy down on a pick. He's the most overrated wideout in football. Most overrated wideout. Just shut the hell up and catch the damn ball.
Yeah, his production's gone down this year as well. So
Aaron Rodgers is the MVP of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm just telling you right now, 41 years old, what he's done. By the way, quarterback plays so bad. You got a 44-year-old, a 41-year-old, 38 Matthew Stafford, who's the MVP, a 38-year-old Kirk Cousins, who are dominating the NFL right now. Everyone else, take notes. And
you coming back as a song boy in your next life. I love you, brother. Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you. There you go. Catch him and throw. All right, joining us now, and I'm pumped about this because I'm a big boxing fan, but I also, you need life-changing stuff to keep you in shape and doing it right. Roy Jones Jr., world boxing champion across 4 different weight divisions, boxing Hall of Famer, obviously an Olympic medalist, one of the best of all time. Also, Ron Oliver of Elite Dynamic Life, who is a trainer, health and fitness coach for over 35 years. Clients include boxing champions, world box champions, pro athletes. And they're on also not only discuss some good stuff on how to change your guy's life around, but neutronics.com/Roy Jones Jr. is where you go to get this great product. I'm taking the product, and I'm pumped about it. Fellas, welcome in. It's great to have you in. Always exciting. And Roy, as I told you in a meeting about a half hour ago before this show started, that I usually tell boxers that if they want to know how to get their ass kicked, come see me. But I'm not that dumb with you, brother, because you still got plenty of eligibility left, and I'm no idiot. Good to have you on, guys.
Hey, thank you for having us, brother.
Thank you, Sean.
No problem. And Ron, I can definitely use some of you in my life. Let's first start here. A few boxing things. And the most recent thing with Anthony Joshua taking out Jake Paul. Roy, you as a guy who's a champion in 4 different weight classes, when you see this YouTube sensation, the Mike Tyson fight, and he ran into somebody that wasn't good with a broken jaw. I mean, when I say wasn't good, wasn't a good one for Jake Paul. What do you think about boxing when you see a YouTube sensation in the ring?
I just think that the boxing is kind of being disrespected to a degree, but at the same time, because of the way that people have not been doing what they're supposed to do in boxing, they allowed it to happen. When an era came along with a guy that was in charge after me, he kind of manipulated the situation, moved through it a different way, and it gave room for people to come in with 50-50 fights. So when you put 2 mules together, 2 mules are a good race. You understand me? And that's what Big Paul cashed in on. He cashed in on the fact that these guys want to protect their oaths, so nobody wants to fight anybody anymore. So let me go find somebody who people think has a chance with me. And I have a big name. I have a big following. Get these people to pay to watch me fight these guys who I may or may not be able to beat. And that's what he did. So he cashed in on it. So you can't say it's a bad thing because he was very smart. Boxing let that happen.
Great marketing thing for him. Roy, $40 million. You fight him? They offer you $40 million.
What I got to lose? Hey, with these Neutronics labs, what do I have to lose?
I was about to say, sure. with your guy sitting with your guy sitting right next to you, Ron, get you ready to roll. I don't think it would take 6 months to get ready for that. And I respect Jake Paul for his grind and doing it, and he's good. But he ran into a straight right that wasn't really good, and hopefully his recovery will come quick. Ron, welcome in. You've trained great ones. You've trained Roy as well.
Thank you, sir.
You told me you had your favorite boxer growing up, and now you're working with him. Explain.
Absolutely. My whole life, I loved watching boxing. And very shortly, when Roy started coming up into the professional boxing, he was my #1 favorite. He was just unbelievably fast. He was incredibly hard to hit, and he was so fast. It's like driving on the road. Speed kills. And he was just knocking them out left, right, and center. And half the time I was laughing. Half the time I was in shock. It was just so entertaining. And then later in my life, I get to meet him and becomes a client of mine. And he becomes a friend, more importantly. I have so much respect for Roy, not just for his skill, but he's a humble man. Most of the superstars in the world aren't so humble, but Roy's very humble. He gives credit to God for his great success and his, skill. So it's very cool.
Thank you.
Ron, what's the one trait in Roy, and I know there's more than one, or any of the great supreme elite athletes that you train? What's the one trait they all have in common?
They do not know how to quit. There's no quit in them. They will never stop. If they're breathing and the heart's pumping, they are going to keep coming. They will not stop.
Roy, with you, your favorite fight ever. I'm talking about one you were involved in. If you had to go back and say, this is the definition of my career, who and when was it?
James Tony, 1994, November 18th, 1994.
Is that James Lights Out, Tony?
Yep,
I like the
yep.
nickname too. There you
Yep.
go.
And the reason being is because he was absolutely lights out. You understand me? He was beating everybody they put in front of him. He was 44-0, and he wasn't ducking no smoke. So when you find a guy like that, it's like that had to be the best night of your life because it's the best guy you ever fought against outside of yourself. You feel me? So that had to be the best night of my life.
So when you're training for a championship fight, like when you're getting ready to fight Tony, are those times like the rest of us? Ron, you can chime in on this too, because you're the one who has to motivate them and discipline them, because there is a difference. I feel motivation's temporary, discipline is permanent. So
Absolutely.
Roy, when you're getting ready, do you wake up sometimes like the rest of us after you're into 2 weeks of training and you're eating right and doing all, taking nutrients, all that? But when you're training, did you ever wake up during that fight and say, I'm not training today, man? I can't. Are you like the rest of us, or is it such an in-game goal that you just can't afford it because you think that one day is going to cost you the fight?
It's such an in-game goal that you do feel like that one day will cost you the fight. However, if on a day I feel myself being tired and or lethargic, then I know my body needs rest, and I would rest on a rest day like that. But other than that, no, because you feel like if you stop, the other guy's going to outrun you. You feel like it's a race, and if you stop, he's going to leave you, and that's what you don't want. So that keeps your mind motivated to keep going, even when your body don't want to.
Ron, when you face that with a guy you're training, how do you face the guy who doesn't want to work that day? What's your message? How do you do it?
Listen. You definitely have to listen to your body and give it rest when it needs to, but that just means they got to get to bed at night and get a good night's sleep and get in alignment with the circadian rhythm. Make sure their nutrition's good, their hydration's good, their body's eliminating correctly. But you absolutely have to have yourself in shape for a fight or for an event of any kind, right? Because that's where you're making your money. So you can't fall short.
This is Ron Oliver. He's elite dynamic life. He's a trainer, health and fitness coach for over 35 years. World champion boxers, pro athletes, been training him forever, knows the business as well as anybody. And obviously, Roy speaks for himself, or we all know it. 4 times different weight division champion, boxing Hall of Famer, Olympic medalist, joins us here on UNPAVED. Roy, if you listed the 5, you're allowed to list yourself, 5 best fighters. I don't care what the weight class is. Can you put them in order?
List myself, I would say Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Salvador Sanchez, probably Sweet Pea Whitaker, and Roberto Duran.
Why Duran?
Because Duran is the trickiest, most craftiest slickster that you will ever meet in a boxing ring. People nowadays don't understand craft or slickness, but this dude is just like our food. Our food is so watered down now that we don't know half the time what we're really eating. That's why our testosterone now at 20 is equal to what guys were at 65, 30 years ago, because we don't know what we're eating. Boxing is suffering the same thing. It's so watered down now. It was funny, I was talking to a guy yesterday on the telephone, and I forgot that he boxed one of my friends, and he switched southpaw with my friend who was southpaw, and my friend knocked him out. And I forgot about that. So we were talking yesterday. I said, boxing has changed so much that in our days, you couldn't switch left and back right anytime you wanted to. A guy catch you switching, he gonna knock your lights out. And I forgot that my guy had did that to this guy. He said, well, you didn't have to bring that point up. I said, oops, I forgot all about that because I forgot that it actually happened to him. But boxing was so skilled back in those days that unless you was Marvin Hagler who could take a punch from anybody, you were not going to switch too often because guys would time you when you switch from orthodox to southpaw, and they putting you out of there. And that same thing happened to a guy that I was talking to yesterday. So he understood exactly what I meant by boxing being watered down now. You have a plethora of fighters. Matter of fact, in the amateur program, they teach them to fight both ways. Why? Because they don't know enough skill-wise to keep them busy on the orthodox side or just the southpaw side. So they have to mix it up to have a change.
All right, Roy, real quick, and I want to get to this product because I'm taking it. It's already made a huge difference, and we're going to get to that. But I do want to, one last question. I believe when boxing's going great, maybe I'm wrong, but from my optics, the heavyweight division is dominant. Does that make sense? So we have 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, and back in the Ali days, and Frazier and Foreman, and you've mentioned some of the great ones. Why are we missing, or what are we missing in the heavyweight division? How do we fix it?
What we're missing are athletes. We don't have a lot of athletes in the heavyweight division anymore. When I say that, you got to remember all these guys that fought in the heavyweight division back in the day, they had certain traits that they were known for. Larry Holmes was known for the jab. Jordan Foreman was known for his power. Ali was known for some of everything. Ken Norton was known for his left hook and the pickable style. Joe Frazier was known for his left hook and that constantly coming at you style. Everybody had characteristics back then as heavyweights that were dominant characteristics. Nowadays, these guys don't have those characteristics. They have very few characteristics. Just not long ago, you had a 6'9", I think he about 6'7", 6'8" for real, but 6'9" Tyson Fury, who really didn't have a lot of punching power. Back in the day, everybody could punch. Ernest Shavers might have been the smallest one of them, and he hit harder than everybody. You understand me? So back then, everybody could punch because everybody was athletic. Even the ones that wasn't that good in boxing could put you out with one punch. Nowadays, you got Fury, who hardly rarely gonna put you out with one punch. Usyk, he's not the best one punch guy. He's getting better as he's going, but he's not the best one punch guy either. So it's like we don't have those guys with the proper upbringing in boxing like we had back then. And in our country, the food grade has decreased so bad that, like I just said about the testosterone, everything has been depleted from our systems to help us grow and nourish a great system that could be powerful for 12 rounds. We don't have that anymore.
Roy, the testosterone crisis is real. Ron, let me bring you in on this. You have vetted products. Neutronics is the one we're discussing today. I'm going to let your expertise talk about it, but testosterone's been dropping in males at all ages for a long time. You've spent a lot of money, time, vetting over products that matter, and your reputation's on the line because you train the top guys in the world. So with that, even with younger guys, is this a systemic health crisis we're going through, and how are we fixing it?
Absolutely. It is a massive problem. It's all due to low cellular energy because of our modern day lifestyles. It's all about toxicity of the cell and, of course, malnutrition, like Roy is alluding to with the food being just completely garbage. And this has caused a huge crisis. In fact, the lowest testosterone in the history of mankind is in America and Canada right now. It's, most men have a half to a third of the testosterone they're supposed to have in their bodies, making them basically feminized.
So why this product? What's the difference?
The reason why this product is so amazing is all about most supplements. They're not being absorbed by the body because the toxicity of the people have a toxic gut, and they're just not absorbing products. Things are getting destroyed as that they consume in their toxic body. But with Neutronics Labs, they have a natural source. It's completely bioavailable. They haven't denatured it. It's been cold pressed and freeze dried and then made into a liquid product that you actually put on your tongue through a patented liposome delivery system. And third-party labs have verified up to 98% absorption. So this is a massive game changer. I've not come across anything in my 35-year career that compares to the bioavailability, the potency, and the purity of these products. I'll never stop taking them as long as I live. Ever since I've been on them about 4.5 months, radically changed my life. Within 2 weeks, I was telling Roy about it and all my top clients.
Hey, and you had mentioned, Ron, that, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you've spent like $500,000 in your career trying to find the right one. I know I've been on it for about a week, and you told me, Sean, the difference is going to kick in big time. And it's so simple to take, correct?
Absolutely. It doesn't require discipline or effort. You just put it under your tongue, and it doesn't even
Right.
taste bad like a lot of things do.
Exactly. Roy, let me bring you back in. People are trying to make it normal that brain fog as you get older and loss of drive, not only just drive, sex drive, whatever it is, poor recovery, declining, all those things that go with aging, right? That they're making that normal. Have you faced some of that? And what has this product done for you with Neutronics Labs?
What it does, it gives me a new energy. It makes me feel revitalized, like I can go again. You know, it's like I told Ron, after I was on it for about a week, I started finding myself walking around the house shadowboxing again. And I had never shadowboxed for probably about 4 or 5 years. I just kind of never shadowboxed if I was really going to do a fight or something. And I didn't find myself shadowboxing then. Now, all of a sudden, I find myself walking through the house throwing punches again. So I know something's got to be happening, whether I like it or not, because it ain't something that I'll just choose to do. It's a feeling. You know, either I feel like doing it or I don't feel like doing it. And for years, I hadn't felt like doing it. After taking this product, I found myself walking around punching like I'm about to hit somebody again. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So, and the only thing I changed is this product.
There you go. And Ron, with that, you know, the masculinity and the confidence, and it's easy to lose confidence when you're not either in the ring training or getting yourself in shape. And even when you are, you're like, man, am I the same? For you, and you see this, how in the world does this affect this product hand in hand with masculinity and leadership and confidence? Has it worked for you? And have you seen it with Roy as well?
Absolutely. Well, you know, testosterone what makes men men, right? Just like estrogen makes women women. And so when a man starts to decline in testosterone, not only does he lose lean muscle mass and bone density, it causes depression. They lose their drive, their discipline, their desire to conquer, to protect and provide for their families. So it has a massive impact on our society. I think you can see clearly when you look across the nation of America and Canada, what has happened to men. They've become grossly feminized. And they're trying to tell us that being masculine is toxic. I'm going to say that's backwards. Feminine men are toxic. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. It's crazy, right? So I can tell you this, all of my male clients are on the products. I am personally taking the man's edge, which is absolutely second to none. There's nothing on the planet more powerful than this is. If there was, I'd be taking it. And it's got fenugreek in it. It's got long jack in it. It is so powerful. I felt it from my first dose. Now, I'm not normal. I'm an extremist. Most people, it's going to take them a few days to feel it. Within a week or two, I have every one of my male clients texting me, telling me they're thanking me so much for it, and it's helping them feel like a man again. And this is men that have completely lost their libido and lost their edge, you know, and they're getting it back within a week or two. It's game changer for any man for sure.
And Ron, I'll tell you
it absorbs
this.
in 98 seconds, you know.
Yep. I was going to say, I'll tell you this, that you don't ever have to apologize for masculinity on this show. This is 100%. Not only is it your opinion, it's the opinion of this show as well.
Fantastic.
It is a good thing. This is
And
for both
company.
of you. There you go. This is for both of you guys, with Roy and for you, Ron. You know, sometimes we come up with Band-Aids, right? Why isn't this a Band-Aid? And why shouldn't I be taking injections and shortcutting this? What's the difference?
This is not a Band-Aid because, first of all, it's natural. It's nothing that's not God made already. It's natural. It's a natural product. Natural products never are usually Band-Aids because they're
so I don't have to
basically
worry
put
about
God.
any doctors going and saying, man, what are the backlash of this? I'm losing sleep. And I know there's a sleep product that I'm taking that works wonders under the tongue.
Yep.
So there's nothing I got to worry about. It's natural right out of the ground.
None of that.
Absolutely.
And I can tell you one more thing. I can promise you. Ron is just like I am when it comes to training people. When I train boxers, I'm very asinine about them doing it the right way. Ron is the same way about health. So for Ron to attest or say that he believes in anything says a lot to me. But I also know that Ron also goes overboard with everything. So you can't possibly OD because Ron gonna take the whole bottle if he needs to get the, you understand me? And nothing happens to him. So because it's natural, you can't OD. You can't do nothing wrong. You understand me? It's gonna work or it's not gonna work. And this, I guarantee you, is gonna work.
Ron, we said guzzle a bottle of water, not all this, not the man's edge product, brother. So Ron,
Well, my job
that,
is to put things to the test, right? So I have tested.
You're the guinea
products.
pig. There you go.
Yes.
I've definitely taken it to the max.
Okay,
I've
let me ask
taken
you.
very large doses to see what's possible with it. And all I can say is thank God I have a young, beautiful wife.
you're obviously an envelope pusher, but with a natural product you can be, as Roy mentioned. So with Man's Edge, a testosterone booster, I'm just curious how, with the science-backed support, why is this IGF-1? Why is it different aside from being natural? And why you mentioned that how quickly it's into the system. Why this? Explain to somebody that wants this product what's the difference in this and anybody else's product that has this.
What's really important to everybody understand, it's all about purity, potency, and bioavailability, meaning absorption. And our bodies were not designed for isolates, individual ingredients. It's designed to take in whole foods, whole herbs, whole medicine that God made, right? And so what they have done is they've extracted the marrow of the antler on the New Zealand red deer, which is a beast of a deer if anyone Googles it. They do it with no harm to the animal. They just clip off the tips. They vacuum out the ingredients. They keep it all in complete tact, and they cold press and then freeze dry it. And then they put it into this bottle in a very unique, patented liposome delivery system with that 98% absorption. And because they haven't messed with the matrix of it all, it's exactly the way it was in the antler in this bottle. So that's why the bioavailability is so incredible. And the other factor is it's because nothing dead can support life. There's a reason why they cold press olives to make olive oil, and they cold press grapes to make wine, right? Heat denatures everything. So they've done nothing to damage or denature these incredible properties and compounds and nutrients in the antler of these deer. And if you look it up online and you look up these New Zealand red deer, they have a massive antler rack on them. It's just gigantic. That entire thing grows in 90 days. So all the growth factors, the minerals, the amino acids, the anti-inflammatories, everything in there to make that possible. So the antler not only grows that every year, but there's no pain, no suffering for that rapid growth is what's in the Man's Edge versus other products that are in a capsule form. So they got 25,000 nanograms of the antler velvet in here with all these other hormone, testosterone boosting ingredients. And the synergy is incredible. The other thing I'm taking, and so is Roy, is the 300,000 IGF-1 with the long.
Scoot that over a little bit in front of the camera for me.
Yeah,
there,
sorry.
right there. There you go.
There's the combo right here. So we're taking this product here, the 300,000 with Long Jack, taking the Man's Edge. And because, well, Roy's a superhero and I'm a radical guy, we're taking the 600,000 nanogram too. So that's a total of 900,000 nanograms of IGF-1 plus the Man's Edge. That's the ultimate stack for your situation. It will improve any man's performance, both in the gym, out on the field, in the ring, and in the bedroom with the wife.
And you also mentioned that, the antler's a big rack, and who doesn't love a big rack? Anyway, I digress. But proper dosage, and we joke that you go through because you want to test dosages, but we get into this, and Roy, you both can chime in, and because your guys collab on the product, Roy, you and Ron,
Absolutely.
It's so important because sometimes we underdose and sometimes we overdose. Body weight, age, does all that come into play, fellas? Roy, I'll start with you.
Yes, all of that comes into play because I started out taking too less of a dose, and Ron had to up my dose some because of my size. So it's like you have to know, and that's why it's good to have Ron to talk to or listen to, because he's going to play with it and figure out exactly what works for what particular size or person or what activity level you're up to. So sometimes if you don't do as much, you don't need as much. But if you do more, you need more. Ron can help you adjust and make those adjustments so that you're taking the right amount of the product. And one more thing I want to say, that was the IGF. The IGF is what the body turns growth hormone into. And people don't know that. I didn't know that until I got this product. I'm like,
I
wow,
didn't
so
either.
forget. Yeah, I did not know that till Ron taught me about this product. I'm like, so people taking growth hormone don't realize that it actually turns into the IGF. And this is giving it to you without having growth hormone at all. Just the IGF is right direct. So it's right to you. So go ahead, Ron, you can finish now.
Absolutely. The IGF-1 is, every male, the testicles on every male mammal build testosterone, right? The ovaries in the females build estrogen. And then everybody's pituitary makes growth hormone. But in the liver, it's converted into IGF-1, which is 10 times more powerful than growth hormone. So my first month after doing all the research, talking to the owner, talking to the doctors, doing all my due diligence, I did a lot of research and studying before I put it in my body. That's just how I do everything. And then I went on a dose that was perfect for my weight, my age, and my activity level. And I was absolutely shocked at the results of my first month. It just blew me away. I have never had a more amazing pump training in my life than I do right now. Strength, energy's through the roof. I got to tell you, there's lots of evidence to prove this is a literal anti-aging product. And I tell you, I feel probably a decade younger in the last 4.5 months taking the products. That's not an exaggeration at all. And
Well,
I'm hearing that from all of my clients.
it's time to fight back. So both of you guys, as we close this out, if you're talking to anybody or a bunch of people that are going to see this show and are seeing it live now and will watch the podcast, give me, what's your message to men and women, but men right now?
If you're a winner at heart and at mind, and you feel like Father Time has taken that winning edge away from you, and you want to get it back, get this product. I guarantee you get it back.
Ron?
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody just go to neutronicslabs.com, put in Roy Jones Jr.'s code. You'll get 10% off anything you order today. And if you go on the auto ship, you get an additional 50% off. So today you can get 60% off on your order. And if you go there today, gentlemen, you buy the Man's Edge, you'll get a free bottle of the 300,000 nanograms of IGF-1 with the Long Jack. And ladies, you need IGF-1 too. Even children need it. For you ladies, if you go get yourself the woman's formula, you'll get a free bottle of the 300,000 nanograms of IGF-1 with Long Jack. You guys will be thanking us for it for the rest of your life. I literally getting text messages every day from my clients. I've never come across anything that impacts people faster. And what I love about it is it takes no discipline, takes no effort, and it doesn't have a bad taste. You just put it under your tongue, and that's it. It takes moments, Hold it under your tongue for a good 10 seconds so you can absorb everything, right under the tongue in between your doses of your different bottles. You can take them all at the same time. I take the Man's Edge, the 300,000 and the 600,000 all at once. And for all of you out there that are having trouble sleeping, my wife and I just recently had a baby. Even though I'm 58, obviously I'm still working well. And I'm using the Miracle Sleep product here. This product here is just helping me get to sleep. So I sleep deeper throughout the night when the little guy wakes up and he wants more food and all that. You know how it is with babies.
Oh, yeah. Well, the world says we're supposed to accept decline. Don't have to. Neutronics Labs. Again, go to neutronicslabs.com/Roy Jones Jr. Save an extra and use Roy's code, and you'll get an extra 10% off your first order plus 50% off and get a free IGF-1 plus platinum when you purchase Man's Edge testosterone booster with auto ship. Ron, phenomenal stuff, man. And you and I will be talking about dosage and everything else. And no, I'm not training to fight Roy, but I'm training to fight decline. And
maybe
Roy,
if you train like you're going to fight Roy, you'll be
there. You go. There you go.
And
I'm going to
that's a bad idea.
That's it. Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm going to continue to think big rack. Okay, we want that.
There you go.
And Roy, with you, boxers never retire.
Nope.
Right?
Never do. Ron might have me back in there again in a few years. Anderson Silva actually looked pretty good the other night on the Jake Paul card. So who knows?
Never know. There you go, guys. Roy, what a pleasure, man. Been a fan for a long time. True champion. And thanks for sharing this. Let's do it again. Love to. And Ron, nobody could have explained that better than you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Man, if you're even thinking about it, that means you need it. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your wives and your children. Go there today. Get yourself a bottle. Get that free 300,000, IGF-1 product. Start taking it right away. It's going to change your life. I guarantee it.
I take it. I just started about a week ago. And I don't care what anybody says. Have you seen this? Look how hot I am. There you go. And it feels energy. I appreciate it. Roy, thanks. Ron, thanks. I appreciate you guys very much, man. Awesome stuff. Segs, let's bring you back in. Better get your happy ass on this too, Segs. You got kids. They're expecting. You got mama. I mean, you got kids to coach for about another 30 years, brother. You better get rolling, my man.
30 years, that's a long time.
That already said I got to reclaim that edge now, right?
I better. Yeah,
great to have Roy on and Ron. Awesome
stuff,
man. Go get that product. If you need anything, you can hit us up and we'll do it. But neutronicslabs.com/Roy Jones Jr. Boy, I could have talked to them for hours, and I got a lot of stuff I wanted to talk boxing with Roy. This product is real, and I'm taking it, Segs, through the roof. And it's
Yeah.
so simple, and it's so compact, meaning it gets in the system quickly. And I take the spray, it's the spray under your tongue at night for those that have trouble sleeping, so you don't have to take all the drugs and narcotics.
Right.
And I'm telling you, take 20 minutes before you go to bed, you'll sleep it's like, damn, I've rediscovered what good sleep's like we had in college and you didn't want to get up for class. That's what that sleep's like, but all natural. So thanks to Roy and Ron and Neutronics Labs for allowing us to visit with them.
Yeah, really appreciate them joining us. Sean, real quick, back to the DK Metcalf stuff we were talking about. The big thing that I want to ask you about here is, with this suspension, if it's upheld, he's obviously appealing. If it's upheld, he could lose up to $40 million in guaranteed money, which means basically the Steelers, if there's a problem, if there's, a big injury, whatever it is, they can.
This gave him an out, right, Segs?
Yes,
this gave the Steelers an out.
They can cut him whenever, and it saves a lot of money against the cap. It doesn't have that dead cap that hurts teams year in, year out when they cut players that aren't, playing up to their standards. So do you think it's fair that DK Metcalf could lose all his guaranteed money for this situation? Or do you think that the league should come back and say, okay, we saw the videos, we saw everything, we saw he wanted to basically tempt DK Metcalf into this. And then we also have what Coach JB brought up, the Bills from a few years ago, multiple players coming over and pushing a fan or multiple fans and putting hands on them, and they got nothing. So where do you land on this?
Yeah, in a court of law, Segs, and they say, oh, they'll someone of the lawyers will reference a case that happened. Let me take you back to a case in 1968, right? They'll reference a case, right? Well, wouldn't you reference, if you're DK Metcalf, the Buffalo Bills and other situations and how it fit in with you? Here's the deal. Let's add a little bit of common sense and perspective. Did anybody get hurt physically? The answer is no. Was the guy in the stands probably scared out of his mind and pissed himself a little bit? Yeah. Maybe. I get it. Was DK silly and out of hand, probably not understanding the ramifications of this when there was apparently no racial slurs, just mentioning his name? Was he too sensitive? Yes. Should he have stayed and focused on football and let it go? Absolutely. Are fans a pain in the ass sometimes? Yes. Most of them are great. All that is true. If the NFL's looking at this tape, Segs, one is if the Pittsburgh Steelers cut him for this, Bush League and week. If they cut him because they don't think he's worth the money when the season's over and want to cut him, well, then they're still obligated to pay something. So this gives them an out, yet it would be Bush League for this to be the reason. Does that make sense? Because when you look, it's not that big a deal to me. Got to stop it. You never know where it can lead. But if it's me, it goes down to 1 game suspension. This is going to be expensive for Metcalf, 1 game, 2 games, or not. And it can affect there is no doubt. Has he been an underachiever? Yeah, since he got paid, he has. Yet with that in mind, if you're, and I know we don't always do the right thing, do I believe this warrants, conduct detrimental, cut him? No, but you do have to send a loud message so this doesn't fester into something bigger with another player. You're always trying to nip this in the bud, right, Segs? And especially fans, just be smarter. And thank goodness it wasn't a racial slur. DK, be less sensitive as well as athletes. But it would bum me out if the NFL kept the 2 game suspension for him, and they may very well do it as a message. But it would also be kind of weak that the Steelers cut him. If you cut him on bad production, go ahead. But cutting him for this or saying this is the reason, a little overboard. There's a lot of wrong in this. You can turn it into a better situation. The optics of this didn't warrant, and there was no punch to the face, a little bit of fear and stupidity. But I don't think it warrants that. And it opened up a can of worms for him. That would be an expensive walk to the stands if that happens.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that we got going on in the NFL is the Chiefs leaving Kansas City. They'll go over to the Kansas side of the border. They're leaving Missouri. They're building a new stadium, a $3 billion stadium. They're getting $1.7 billion in public funding for the stadium from the state of Kansas. Where we also have the Bears, who are now looking in Northwest Indiana as they still try to find their spot to build their next stadium, build their state-of-the-art multi-billion-dollar stadium. do you have a problem with teams leaving the state, even though it might be 10 miles down the road? Do you have a problem with teams leaving their state when they're leaving their city, basically, and now they're still going to be called the Chicago Bears and Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, I have a problem. Well, Seg's a team I played for with the Chargers, even though it didn't leave the state, they go up, up Interstate 5, 405 to 5, and or in LA. That's bothersome.
Yeah,
of course. And it's bothersome for fans and everything else. Listen, this is more emotional for me. I didn't play in Kansas City. I love that facility where the Royals and the Chiefs are in that big parking lot. If you've never been to a tailgate in Kansas City with the smell of barbecue, it's phenomenal. Now, I know we're in an age when everybody wants the suites and the modern art stadium, and it's an AI stadium is basically what they are. You push a button and tickets come out of your ass. That's where we're getting to. I hate it for the fans because there's still a part of me that will always love the Fenway Parks and Wrigley Fields. There just is. I know what I like is new amenities in the same place with old school feel. Does that make sense? It's like, right. I'm a guy that built a house. I want a barn dominium with all the bells and whistles, but a barn dominium that makes it look lived in, but it's new. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about this, Segs. I hate it, and I hate the fact that if you're going to leave Kansas City and go to Kansas, should you still be called the Kansas City Chiefs? I mean, if you're a fan, you're like, that's a bummer. I know it'll work and it's fine and they're going to do it and it's all about follow the money. I just hate it because there's an overview a buddy of mine sent that shows Royal Stadium, Kauffman Stadium, and there's what it feels like to me. And I know everybody wants the surrounding like at Truist Park, like in St. Louis, like at Texas where Jerry's, where all the bars and restaurants. You can still, I would rather have them build around the facility and keep the facility there, build a nice boutique hotel, more bars and restaurants, and that huge ass parking lot, build it there and the Royals and have it there so you still have it. Because I just like the fact that it's convenient and it's the way it is, but that's the way we've done it. So hell, even the talk with the Houston Texans, Segs, are they going to, the upgrade to either NRG or move it to somewhere else? So more importantly, it bums me out. And I feel for Kansas City fans because I just get caught in the old school. I like that feel, but eventually everybody, hell, what are we going to do at the Dodger Stadium? Dodger Stadium's the third oldest stadium in sport in baseball. Fenway, Wrigley, Dodger Stadium's third. Segs, it still looks when you see the green grass and the powder blue stadium like it's new. It's one of the oldest stadiums in Major League Baseball. When at Chavez Ravine are we going to build a bigger facility and kind of ruin that feel, right? And I just hate it because it's 77,000 a screaming red, but it's where we are. Billionaires want to be billionaires 10 times over and create value. I get it. I just hate that it's not there and they have to move it. Good on the Kansas people, but bummer for Kansas City.
Yeah, it's just amazing how many new stadiums we get, in all.
And 20 years into it, Segs, they're ready to build a new one. Oh, that's old now. Because it's crazy.
Right.
And I know how fans feel. Make sure that your fans don't want to fund your new stadium either. They're just fine doing it in the one they're in now.
Right. Well, with the Bears up in Chicago, part of me doesn't want them to build that domed stadium. I don't,
Agreed.
I like what
like the outdoor.
Doing. Yeah, I like Buffalo is building a new state-of-the-art stadium, but they're keeping it open. And I think they might have the ability to close it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but for football games, it will be open. You'll still have the snow. You'll still have, because up there in New York and northern New York, you get a lot of snow.
Can you imagine the Packers doing that too, Segs? Lambeau Field, putting a dome over the damn thing. It's just hard to fathom. But eventually, everything we like gets screwed up somehow.
Right. Well, and that's where you look at, you look at a big city like Chicago. They want the stadium because they want to be able to host Super Bowls. They want, in Green Bay, there's just not enough around there to host a Super Bowl. Like, there's just not enough structure to do that. So they are able to keep that open stadium. Kind of the same thing for Buffalo. Buffalo's not this destination for a Super Bowl. Chicago, Minneapolis, where they built their dome, Detroit, you have the structure to put Super Bowls in those major cities. And
Las Vegas, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Right. So something that we'll continue to monitor for all teams, because all teams are looking for new stadiums at this point, unless they've just built in the last 10 years. And even then they're starting to want something we've talked about in the past. Real quick, run through a couple topics. Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman. I brought this up month and a half ago. He will be a top candidate for the New York Giants head coaching position. right fit for the Giants, and Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo and all the and Malik Neighbors, the young talent that the Giants have. Marcus Freeman feels like he'd walk in and kind of just fit that perfectly.
Certain quarterbacks fit any system, certain coaches fit any system in any city at any level. To me, no matter where Coach Freeman goes, he'll be a success. The Giants, there's a lot worse you can do. Yeah, and if you love him, and apparently, I mean, what's not to love about Coach Marcus Freeman? Honestly, to me, he's young with some old soul. It looks like he's a lot young, even younger than he is. He's got energy. He obviously coaches at as high pressure to places there is in college football to coach. If he's still a little irritated with the way college football went about their business and that carries over, he says, screw it, I'm going to go where I can dictate that wins and losses dictate where I get to play.
Right.
I can see it. And it's New York. New York would fall in love with him, dude. And do I think that if you're Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo and that, you would absolutely love him. And this, you know what? I know people black and white and the rest of it. Listen, I don't care. Marcus Freeman's just fabulous regardless, right? And I think he'd be awesome there. I would love to play for the guy because there's an energy. Segs, there's that fine line of players, coach, and discipline. And I think he fits the perfect in between where I think you love being around him and you can hang and talk to him, but you also got to know the line that I'm still your coach. And I feel like that. And I don't feel his leadership is forced. I just don't.
Right.
He's an impactful man. I love listening to him in interviews. I think he's a great X's and O's guy. And I also think that his leadership is through the roof. And if you're a bad leader, you can't coach at Notre Dame. And if you do, eventually they run you out. If you're a bad leader. If I'm the Giants, my love has already grown for him. I go all in and I make it impossible for him to leave the building. Because if you do, somebody else, and there's probably 3 or 4 more, they're going to want a shot at him. If you're the Giants and you want a quick turnaround, I'm not sure there's any better at it right now considering, and I know the college to the NFL, he's one that I'm really not worried about because it isn't like he's been the head coach in college for 20 years.
Right.
He'll make the adjustment quickly. Love it.
Yes, for sure. All right, before we get out of here, bet of the day, let's do the Bush's Boca Raton Bowl tonight. Toledo versus Louisville. Louisville's coach Jeff Brom's being mentioned for Michigan. Does that kind of take away from him? Louisville's a 12.5-point favorite. Who you like in this one?
I'm taking Louisville through and through on this one, Segs. I think I'll take them and I'll lay those points. And along with that, and I feel pretty strongly about this, is along with that, bearing the lead here. How long now? I said Michigan should take a few days or a week or so before they jump in and let what happened there breathe, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the urgency wasn't there, but there's still got to be a sense of urgency because of recruiting and the rest of it. Segs, please don't become Penn State with the decision when it's taken long, because candidates, I mean, the guys are going to keep going. The NFL is now going to get to their hiring and firing cycle, and some guys will be assistant somewhere. Brom's a good, he's been a Purdue guy, Louisville guy. He hadn't been around good coaches and was a good player. But Michigan, where are they headed with this?
Yeah,
it's got to happen. I don't think the Michigan effect, because there's not enough heat on the Brom thing. I don't think this Michigan-Louisville will have anything to do with the win or loss for Louisville tonight. It'll be strictly performance. I think they'll be all in.
Yeah, I have Louisville as well in this game. Yet supposedly Biff Poggi's been talking a lot. If you haven't noticed, he's been doing interviews with different people, and he's talking a lot about this job, about the football organization there at Michigan and all the problems. He said that Ward Manuel has told him he wants to have a new coach lined up in between Christmas and the bowl game. So he wants a new coach named before the bowl game, which is December 31st against Texas. And then that beats the transfer portal opening on the 2nd, and that few weeks of just complete chaos. It allows someone to come in, and you're still hearing the same names of Jeff Brom, which I've been talking about him for a couple weeks, just mentioning him on the periphery. Kyle Whittingham from Utah, who left there, he's still available. And there's a few others that are kind of just sneaking around, I think, to look at this job. And it's still going to be a good coach for the University of Michigan when it happens.
No doubt. They're in position. Oh, yeah, they're going to get a good one. And Isaiah, before we go, to answer a couple of your questions, can Coach Freeman command an NFL locker room? And the reason why he can, because he won't have to try to. There's a respect factor that I think he's earned. And we don't know, but I think that there's a lot of stuff you have to do at Notre Dame to command that locker room, not just the players in it, but alumni and everybody that watches that program closely. So I think he can't, and we'll never know until he's in it. The other one is, you say the greatest college coach of all time couldn't do it in the NFL and went back. Well, one is his quarterback was hurt and Dante Culpepper didn't get Drew Brees. That's a big reason. Secondly, maybe there's a reason why Nick Saban's the greatest college coach of all time. His focus was there. Do I believe if Saban came back and he committed and he was never going to go back to college and was an NFL coach, that they'd win? I absolutely do. Right. But because right now, it may even be better for Nick because he wouldn't have to deal with NIL. He could just go coach and let that happen and hire the right one. So I don't judge Marcus Freeman based on Nick Saban. Hell, maybe Freeman's a better NFL coach because he's more prepared for it. And remember, a lot of these guys have been assistants on coaching staffs in an NFL, like Saban was with Belichick in Cleveland. So it kind of comes and crosses over. But we never know until we see it. I can put it to you this way. I don't think Marcus Freeman's a big risk. I just don't.
I completely
think there's a lot of reward.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He will be on the minds of a lot of NFL teams when it comes.
Let me be an athletic director, or general manager, and I got news for you. He's on a very short list for me.
Yes.
No question.
100%. All right. Tomorrow, we will do a show on Christmas Eve. We're going to do 11 a.m. Central, so that's noon Eastern. So just 1 hour before our normal time. We will do the show. We'll do a full show. We'll talk NFL playoffs, where things stand now. We can look at who needs to do what to get where in terms of, what do the Bears need to do to get to the 1 seed? What do the Niners do? You heard Coach GB talking a little bit. What does the Seahawks need to do to keep that? The Rams, the NFC West feels like everybody's in there except for, the Arizona Cardinals, because they
blow.
They're awful. So we'll talk a lot of NFL tomorrow. We'll get you ready for some decent college football this weekend as well, with some bowl games picking up.
And we'll talk about the playoff situation next week because we got time for the playoffs. That's right.
Yes, because we need that long break of the playoff there.
Yeah, sure we do.
Yeah. So yes, we will be back tomorrow, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. We'll do the full show for you guys on Christmas Eve, and then we'll enjoy our Christmas on Thursday, and then the day after on Friday. So we will be back tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. Go like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Unpaved Sean Salisbury. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Unpaved Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.